Hey, finally. Okay, I've been having some issues with trying to get on to do a little teaching today. We're talking about relationships. Yes, I coach on health and helping women feel confident in their body, lose weight naturally, and all these wonderful things. But also, one of the things that I help women with is creating um, healthy connections and creating deeper connections within their relationships. So you can't do that if you don't have good communication skills, right? So that's one of the things I want to talk about today is learning to communicate and learning to get out of here, get out of our head, so that we can get out of our own way. So I'm gonna give you that and 3 easy steps in just a minute. But first, I want to tell you a little personal story. A couple weeks ago, I was feeling really guilty about the mess I was creating in the kitchen. So we have certain roles in our house where I take care of the laundry and my husband takes care of the kitchen in terms of, cleaning up and dishwashers and all that fun stuff. And we're both home right now working. And so we're making a lot more mess in the kitchen than we used to. And he's been a little moody, and I made up some story in my head that it was about me and about my mess in the kitchen, and I was not carrying my weight. I was not helping. No, again, keep in mind, like we have those structures already in place in our relationship, in our partnership, in our house. That I take care of this, he takes care of that. But in my head, that's where I had gone to. Oh, he's being moody because I'm not cleaning the kitchen or I'm making a big mess. And so for days I was walking on eggshells. I was cleaning up the kitchen, right? Because my guilty conscience, I wanted to do that. And I was really getting frustrated with him for being moody and, well, like, I clean the kitchen. What do you want from me now? All these things, right? When it was never about the kitchen and it was never about me. So finally, after a couple of days of this goes on, I finally, got the nerve, got up the courage to just say, "Hey, what's going on? You know? And guess what? It had nothing to do with the kitchen. It had nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. It was that I was that feeling stuck on a project at work. It had nothing to do with me and what was going on here, but my mind, I had created that story. And the only way to get past it was to speak up and say something and ask. And so that is kind of, just an example of what we all go through all the time in our own life, whether we are really aware of it or not. It's happening all day, every day. So I want you to be more of aware of it, and I want to give you these 3 easy tips of how you can help that in your own life. And first and foremost, I want to say, when we think about the idea of yelling, if you either come from a household where yelling, or you see it happening, or you're, finding yourself doing it in your own house, I want you to really think about how that feels for you as a person when you are yelled at. Chances are, I mean, think about it. How do you feel when that happens? Chances are you feel attacked, and you're either going to go into a fight or flight stage in a retaliation, or you're going to go to you're going to shut down, right? Shut down emotionally. Either of those things are not healthy ways of communicating. It's not a healthy feeling in your body, and it's not going to create that healthy relationship and that deeper connection with whoever that is, whether it's your child or your spouse, your partner, your parents, whoever, right? So when you find yourself yelling, just stop. Take a minute. Let the person know that you need a minute. Gather yourself, take a breath, and say, I want to finish this conversation when we cannot yell. And then do that. Make it happen later. Okay, all right. So I'm going to take you now into the steps. So the first step is observe Don't judge. So it's a little hard to do, right? It is hard to do, but what we want to do is try to look at it from a bigger picture. Look at the whole perspective and not just about you and how you feel. So look at the bigger picture. Look at what's around it and do your best to be objective and not judgmental. It takes time and it takes practice. But when you can do that, you can really start to get yourself out of the way and really foster a more supportive and engaging partnership and relationship, which is what we want to move to. The second thing is to journal it out, write it down. So, whatever you're feeling, if you can get it onto paper somehow, whether it's morning journaling or evening journaling, or just pick up a book during the middle of the day and write something down, whether you have prompts or whether you just start to free write and just get it out. It could even be in the form of a letter to the person that you may give them, you may never give them, and don't give it to them. Don't do anything because you want to hurt somebody, right? You don't want to give it to them in order to hurt, but if you find that it can be helpful, if you find that you have a hard time communicating things vocally and writing it down, it's like you got it all out, but you can't get it out when you're talking to them, then yeah, sure. As long as it is a constructive method. But so the point is, when you are getting it out of your head and onto paper, that is when you're going to start to see it more clearly. And those negative mind loops, those mental loops in your head, they really don't have grounding. And when you can see it on paper, that's when you realize that. You see it for truth. You see it for what it is. And it becomes so much more clear. So I challenge you to get it on paper and journal it out. And the third thing, y'all, is so simple. Just ask. Just ask. That's all you have to do. I guarantee you, I know it sounds really scary sometimes, but I promise. I'll even be generous and say 7 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with you. And let's say you have a big scary conversation about finances or work or childcare or whatever it is, some big scary thing, and it's looming and it's like the elephant in the room, and you know that you need to talk about it, but you just don't. And days go by before anybody says anything, and you're all still feeling like you're walking on eggshells. What has that done? Think about all of the happy moments that were not felt because you were avoiding these other things. So be brave. Open the communication, open your mouth, and just ask the hard questions, and don't be afraid. It is kind of scary, but the more practice you get, and really coming at it from a place of compassion and non-judgment, that's going to really allow the person on the other end, whether it's your partner, spouse, or child, or coworker, it's going to allow them to feel supported in a way that where space is held, where they can voice back to you, and it's an open communication rather than feeling attacked, where that really doesn't help anybody, right? Yeah, so those are your 3 steps. Observe, don't judge, and journal it out. Write it out so that you can get really clear and get it out of here and get it onto paper. And just ask. Just open your mouth and communicate in a way that is supportive and compassionate. And if you're in a moment where you cannot be supportive and compassionate when you open your mouth, then don't open your mouth. Tell the person that you need space, and when you can, go back to it. And if that's the case, then go back to number 2 and journal it out. Okay? So those are the steps, and I hope that this helps. I know that this is something that a lot of people choose not to talk about, but it's something that is extremely common in all of our lives. So I hope that it's helped you today to kind of get a handle on some things, and you can be brave in your own life. And yeah, just also, tell me in the comments if it helps you, or if there are other methods that you use personally in your life that you think might be helpful for other people. Please share away. And if you really want to talk more about how I help women to create deeper connections and deeper relationships with their partners and other people in their life, then definitely message me and I will let you know more about how I do that. Okay, y'all have a great Thursday evening, and I'll see you later.